I'm Joyce Woodworth. Welcome to the Spirit of Winona. This year, Winona is celebrating its Sesquicentennial, or 150 years of existence. Music has been a big part of this time, and some of the songs created way back then still move us today. A special concert of some of these songs has been put together by several of our local musicians, and today we're going to talk to them and hear some of the tunes that Winonans have been listening to for almost a century and a half. Ruby Oyen, a choral director in Winona, tells us how the idea for the concert was initiated. You are the one that sort of had a dream about this concert, didn't you?
When our oldest grandson was born, we went to Eau Claire to a gospel concert, and about 4 years ago was when I started thinking that Winona really would benefit from having a gospel concert. I kept asking a few people, and everyone seemed interested, but no one was willing to do the work at that point. And about a year ago, I asked Dr. Barr if he was interested. Oh, yeah, he was interested. And this year is the year that he called and said, we're ready to do it, because the Historical Society and the Sesquicentennial Committee were looking for a venue for our 150th, so the two combined beautifully.
Dan Barr, a musician disguised as a local ophthalmologist, tells us how the idea grew into Winona's Sesquicentennial music event.
Last fall, when we knew Winona was going to have 150th, I said we got to do something special, and we wanted to get 150 voices together to do this concert. We're almost there. We couldn't get enough men to do that, but we have about 132 people going to be on stage singing, and you add the band and a few other people on stage, and we're real close to 150 people. Actually two themes to this choir concert. One will be a gospel religious theme, and one will be a patriotic theme, and each part of the concert is going to have that woven together. So for instance, we start off with the Star Spangled Banner, what else, right? There'll be the famous tunes of America throughout the concert too.
Peace in the
choir, it is going to be quite a moving part of the program. Dr. William Krueger from the Historical Society has done a lot of research. And we will have actors who will be portraying Civil War soldiers and World War I soldiers, and they'll be telling the story of how Winona participated in part in those wars. We actually have live veterans from World War II, Korea, and Vietnam who will be telling a brief summary of Winona's participation. And then following each one of those little actors' presentation, we'll be singing a song that is part of that period of history. So, for instance, a song that many people would recognize would be called Tenting Tonight. It's a beautiful Civil War song at the end of the Civil War, all the way up to the Ballad of the Green Beret, which is in the John Wayne movie, and everybody will remember that.
Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground. Many of us had fallen on the field on July 2nd, 1863. During the terrible Red artillery assault, I was laying by the side of my captain, who was wounded in the head on the second day of the battle. In taking care of him, I got pretty well covered with his blood, as he bled a good deal. In taking care of him, he wanted to go back to the front, so I had to hold him up most of the time. I got over being faint and could crawl on my hands and knees until the ambulance came. Many are the hearts that are looking for the light. Our gallant captain died 5 days later. Among the papers Captain Perriam left behind was a document dated May 20th, 1861, written upon was entering the service of the Republic. Though one of the very first to sign up, he was strongly impressed with the idea that he would not survive the war. This presentiment of death clung to him through 2 years of dangerous and difficult campaigning in Virginia and Maryland. In a statement to the editor of the Winona Daily Republican in the spring of 1863, Captain Perriman expressed a certainty that he was fully satisfied that he would never return from this war. However, he remarked that he was indeed proud of the privilege afforded him of offering his life in defense of his beloved country. Many are the hearts that are looking for the bride to see the dawn of peace. Rum, 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 rum. Carpenter Buck here. A week or so after the armistice was signed, I received this wonderful letter from my Aunt Maud describing the joy in Winona on the first armistice day. I'll share it with you. November 19th, 1918. Dear Carp, yesterday certainly was a glorious day. I wonder if you made as much noise over there as we did in this country. The whistles began to blow at Monday at 2:30, and I don't believe they let up all day. Church bells rang, and every auto in the town had the old tin cans, bathtubs, wash boilers, sleigh bells, and everything they could to make noise tied to the back of them. Everyone blew horns or carried cowbells. That one of yours did good service. Thousands of people got up at 2:30 and went downtown and set off fireworks. They danced at the platform across from the PO also. At night there was a parade and a big bonfire down on the levee. In the PM, the Elks buried the Kaiser. They had a coffin made of a pine box and painted black, then covered it with cabbages, weeds, and other vegetables. This was carried on a wagon with all the Elks following, with flags and banners up on the high bridge and dumped overboard into the river. There was a note in the box that anyone who found it was to push it along. It was a great day. Lovingly, Aunt Maud. We're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over.
Taken on Iwo Jima by Joe Rosenthal. The famous photo of the 5 Marines and 1 corpsman raising the flag on Mount Suribachi on Iwo Jima. 3 of us Winona Marines were there that day. Lefty Lee, Chuck Kubitschek and I were those 3 Marines. Chuck was in a position where he could actually see the flag go up. And he and his group of Marines marveled at the sight, the flag going up on Mount Suribachi. Lefty Lee and I were unable to see it. We were too far away, and we were also kind of busy that day. All 3 of us spent a lot of days on Iwo Jima. It was supposed to be a 4-day campaign. It turned out to be way over 20 days. We were hot, we were sweaty, we were dirty, and we were actually scared. We were scared that the Japs would get us before we got them. Lefty Lee didn't make it through the campaign. He got hit. And with the good help of Navy corpsmen, they hauled him away and kept him alive. Chuck Kubitschek and I never did get hit. We were too skinny at that time, and we also learned how to stand sideways. We don't feel that we are heroes. All we are happy about is that we were survivors. There were a lot of them, and our friends who were not. Lefty and I were in the 3rd Marine Division. Of that division, there were 5,569 casualties, of which 1,331 were killed in action. Chuck Kubitschek's division, 4th Marine Division, had an even worse record. They had 9,000, I got all these numbers, 9,098 casualties. 1,806 of them were actually killed in action. So as I say, we don't feel we're heroes, we're just glad to be survivors. Really, I feel that the heroes of this World War II are those men whose white crosses we honor every Memorial Day down at the Veterans Park at Lake Winona. Those are our heroes. Those of us who did come back were real happy that our dreams were fulfilled, that we could come back to home, to our home, the beautiful and the great city of Winona. Thank you.
We were just trying to follow in the footsteps of our older brothers by joining the services. I ended up with the 1st Cavalry Division in Japan during the occupation of that nation after World War II. Things were really going well there as far as I was concerned, that is, up until June 25th, 1950. That was when the communist North Koreans invaded South Korea. President Harry S. Truman decided that we should take an active role with the United Nations forces to stop the North Korean aggressors. When he said we, he really meant us. Most people in the United States had 2 questions about Korea. First, where the heck is Korea? And second, who cares? After all, hadn't we just defeated 2 of the greatest military powers ever assembled? We troops who were stationed in Japan had a little different outlook on this situation. We knew where Korea was. July 18, 1950, we made what must be the least known major amphibious landing in military history at the seaside village of Pohang-dong on the east coast of Korea, the only country in the world where one can contract malaria and frostbite at the same time. Chinese force estimated at 16,000 at Unsan, about 40 miles south of the Chinese border, attacked our 8th Regimental Cavalry Regimental Combat Team, a force of about 1,200 men. Not many of us survived that incident. Well, I came home in June of 1951. Many of my buddies were still there when I went. In fact, about 34,000 never made it home alive at all. I feel lucky to be here today, 50 years later, to tell about the men and women who served in Korea. They call the Korean War the Forgotten War. Well, I remember Korea. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die, men who mean just what they say, the brave men of the Green Beret.
I'm honored to be here tonight to represent the Vietnam veterans. I'm proud to have served my country during the Vietnam War. My grandfather fought in World War I. My father fought in World War II. I was a combat medic with the 1st Infantry Division and the 1st Air Cavalry. I spent 8 months in the jungle with the 1st Infantry Division and 3 months with the 1st Air Cav at a forward fire support base. If you've seen the TV program MASH, that's what we did at a forward fire support base. Somebody got hit out in the field, they choppered him in, and we gave him emergency treatment until they could be choppered back out to another facility in Japan, the Philippines. My last month in Vietnam, I spent at a Special Forces camp near the Cambodian border. I enlisted in the Army for 3 years. It was a job as far as I was concerned. I did my job well. The war was a political war that couldn't be won with bullets. We won most of the battles, but we didn't win the war. No event in American history is more misunderstood than the Vietnam War. Are there any Vietnam veterans in the audience today? Vietnam veterans, we didn't get ticker tape parades or anything like that when we got home, so I just want to say welcome home, brothers. I'd like to dedicate this evening's event to the Charles and Leon Dietrich family. Their son Chuck was killed in Vietnam, June 22nd, 1967. Thank you. In the Green Beret, so let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We will fight our country's battle from the air and the sea. First to fight for life and freedom, and to keep our honor clear. We are proud to make our title of United States of
Nancy Edstrom, the accompanist and one of the organizers of the concert, tells about the Children's River medley she wrote the arrangements for.
Well, I can tell you, I even wrote them down so I remember. It's the water's wide, deep river, down by the river, wade in the water, and shall we gather at the river. And they're very quick. I don't think the whole medley takes more than about 3 or 4 minutes. But and the kids, again, are doing actions and a little bit boys and against the girls. Not against, but, you know, some fun interplay there. Roxy Vanderwater is the director, and she has a real gift with actions and choreography and even sign language with the children. So what they do, I think, is going to be very exciting.
The ladies are doing 3 very swinging with full instrumental tunes. So the ladies alone are going to definitely have the rhythm and blues concession on this concert is going to be the women-only choir. No question about that.
Why, I even served 2 terms as president of the Minnesota State Suffrage Organization. I've always felt very strongly about women's rights, including the right to vote. I was a teacher at the age of 15 back in Michigan. Since I married Mr. Thompson and moved to Minnesota, however, I've been involved in the causes of temperance, suffrage, and church advancement, and the right to work. You are looking at the first saleswoman ever at H. Cho & Company. We predict that by 2001, women will serve as support combat roles in the desert, complete counter sniper courses, and even become adjunct guard general. Surely 360 years of barriers will be lifted by then. You know, if I live until 1926, I'll be 91 years old, and I pray I'll see the day women are given the vote. Until then, I plan on contributing to the success of my country by serving leadership roles. We women of the times need to be looked to for the caliber of our leadership, the strength of our character, and the power of our vision.
One of my favorite things is the Battle Hymn of the Republic, and certainly when that flag goes up, it's got to be one of my favorite moments.
Ruby, did the night meet your expectations?
It certainly did. It was absolutely fantastic. I can't tell you how wonderful the people are that we sing with. They're just so cooperative, and it's time to line up. Everyone lines up. They all sing their hearts out. And certainly it's all volunteers, so I just can't complain.
Well, the night is over. This has been one of the kickoff events for the Sesquicentennial. We have many more events to look forward to. Thank you for joining me here at Winona State University at Sampson Hall at the Gospel Concert. I'm Joyce Woodworth. Till next week, enjoy the Spirit of Winona.